Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. I am here with Lisa Patterson. She is the CEO of Chaseel LLC. Business Spotlight is great for many reasons, Lisa. Number one, it helps you give exposure to my network and the people here in our community in the Las Vegas Valley. And it also helps share with the clients that I work with more about what we do and what we're doing for the community. So Business Spotlight is going to go out to my database and ActionCOACH's database with thousands of viewers around the world. I am excited to learn more about you, Lisa, and your organization. So I'll get this started off by asking, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how long have you been doing it?
Absolutely. So again, my name is OraLeesa Patterson-Gardner, and I am the CEO and General Manager of Chaseel LLC. We are located right here in Henderson, Nevada, and we got started right pretty much during the pandemic, which was a crazy thing to start, a crazy time to start. But we moved from entertainment, which we all know there was no entertainment at that time, and that got cut off by our wonderful governor, Stephen Sisolak, and he had to. It wasn't anything that he wanted to do. He absolutely had to. And then basically I did not stop getting phone calls from simple things like, can you make me a flyer? And I started off by saying, I only make flyers for myself and for things of entertainment. And after the third call of that, I rethought that process and me not getting any money and saying, maybe this is something that I could charge for, and my phone did not stop ringing for actual advice for advertising and marketing, so wow. My husband was the one who really stepped in and changed my way of thinking to say, this could be a way of us making new money is in advertising and marketing. This is something that you're very natural at. This is something that you help people in without even knowing that you're helping people in it. And so we opened up our business, Chaseel. So that's how we got into that. We still do audio-visual work. We do that. We have DBAs because we didn't know really what was going to work.
Right.
So we opened up Chaseel. We knew that was going to be advertising and marketing right out the gate. But then we didn't know if our audio and visual company would work, because again, there was no entertainment, but people were still doing things like private birthday parties. They were still doing things like getting married. It was still normal life still going on, no matter if there were 5 people, no matter if there were 10 people, they still needed certain basic things. So we just kind of stepped up to the plate and kept those things going.
How did that idea come to mind to say, hey, here's a good pivoting point for us? Because COVID was a tough time for a lot of people, and you guys were able to capitalize on that.
We didn't really, I hate to say it, but we didn't have a choice. There were bills that were still needed to be paid. So we didn't have a choice but to either go back to a 9-to-5 that we didn't know anything about, or, make sure that we got paid for something that we knew about. So we just took the road of getting paid for something that we knew about. And so that's how we just really just took that road and went with it. We was like, oh, light bill needs to get paid. Let's go with that. Gas needs to be paid. Let's go with that. Mortgage needs to be paid still. Let's go with that. So that's how the pivoting point, took it, and we just hopped in the car and just went with it.
Yeah, well, good for you guys. I do want to congratulate you on that recent award you just won. Can you tell us a little about how that all came to play?
Yes. So I own Las Vegas Women of Power Awards show. And a few of our politicians learned about Las Vegas Women of Power Awards. And what it is for mid-level positions and beginning level positions. So things like janitorial positions, things like IT specialists, things like housekeepers, secretaries, receptionists, people that own small businesses like smaller restaurants, that can only sit like 4 people in there. Just all kinds of, beginning level things that we just don't really think of, but we really need to show these women appreciation. So I started this award show 2 years ago when we were thinking that we were going to get out the pandemic, and then went right back in it. So I started this award show then, but it was to honor people that were, like, if you can say, professionals already in those fields. So
Right.
even like RNs, was the presidents of hospitals, doctors, attorneys, people that had nonprofit organizations, which were founders, things like that. So it was to honor those people. And those people were almost sitting as a board, if you will, to look over this year's honorarium, which were to the nominees and people that were voting on them, which I said, which is beginning level and mid-level positions. And our politicians learned about that. And they learned about that from their mid-level employees being very excited about it, and had no idea about it throughout the year, but they learned about it kind of at the mid to the end. So it was too late for them to enter it, but they still wanted to find a way to be thankful for it. And so I was awarded by Susie Lee, Senator Cortez Masto, and it was just a number of people that just wanted to tell me thank you. And so that was what that award was all about. Dr. Whitfield from UNLV just wanted to thank me for doing this award, because a lot of people in the community is just like, this is needed. This is not a pay-to-play situation. You can't just buy up a couple of tables and get an award. It's not that type of thing. Right. You actually have to be a good person at what you do every day. And this is how you genuinely get that award from the community. So they were just awarding me for even starting something like that, and just being a founder of something that they felt that was really great and needed within our community.
Yeah, you're doing really good things in our community, and you earned it. You earned
Thank
it.
you.
So congratulations. For Chaseel, who would be an ideal customer or client for you guys?
Small businesses. We really love small businesses that either have started up within the last year or 5 years, to be honest. Sometimes small businesses that want to take a new direction is an ideal client. They just want to see how they could get to their target audience better. They notice that they're not getting to their target audience the best way that they can. And they want to say, hey, Lisa, hey, Charles, I want to sit with you and figure out, how can I grab more of my target audience? Maybe they're only grabbing 5%, maybe they're only grabbing 25%, but they want to get to the 75 to 100% level. And then walk them through doing that in a very strategic way. And sometimes it's just as simple as going old school. We're so caught up in the social media, and we're so caught up in the sending little emails and stuff like that. And sometimes it's just simply going to knock on that target audience door and just saying, hey, and introducing yourself, so we've gotten away from that as a community, just all together. And sometimes that just needs to be done. So that's our target audience, just people who want to take their business to the next level.
That's a lot of what we preach here at Action Coaches. Sometimes you have to take it back to the old school, right?
Right.
You go back to just becoming a people person and getting to know your neighbors in business, right? If you are a brick and mortar, just introduce yourself.
Hello.
And you build a relationship, and you never know who we're connected to.
Absolutely.
Take the time to get to know people.
Just like you did with me. You take the time to get to know Lisa, and that's a very smart thing to do. Even if it's an email and just introducing yourself, that's a very smart thing to do. Just kind of saying, can we go to coffee? Do you mind if I buy your lunch today? Just taking it back old school means a lot to people, because people don't do that. They're too scared, they're too afraid. They want to sit behind the computer and just rock it out. And we've had enough of that as a culture altogether.
Yep. You couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you for that I think is a lot of value in itself, is, just be a people person. since you started this entrepreneur journey, what's been the biggest learning curve that you could share with us as like lesson number one that people can learn from?
I think I will literally go back to what I said. I was the one who made those mistakes. I was the one who sent out mass emails and didn't get the response that I wanted. I was the one who was spending a whole lot of money in the wrong direction of social media. I made those mistakes. That's how I know the proper way to do them. So I think if I could go back and redo a lot of those things and retake a lot of that bootstrapping money that I invested in there, I think I would go in and take my little investment back. I'll probably be sitting real nice and pretty now.
Yeah. So what I'm picking up is testing and measuring to see what works, and then knowing, hey, this has got to be our main focus, right?
Exactly.
And we feel like when a lot of the clients that we take on here at Action Coach, a lot of them don't know their numbers, which scares me, right? Like, how do you know what the score is and what you're trying to achieve if we don't test and measure? So I'm glad you guys are doing that, because that's massive. So that actually is going to lead to my next question with, what's next for you and your company?
What's next for us is kind of a little bit scary, but we're going to move out of this building where we're at. I don't know whether it's going to be this year or next year. I don't know how fast that's going to happen, but we have a podcast in our office right now. We're in a suite. We're in a building suite. We have 4 desks in here with 6 employees. So we're sitting a little bit tight. Good thing we don't all work, within the same shift, the same days. We kind of move around. Sometimes some can work at home, and we kind of move it around. So we're not all in a pinch together. But if we were working all the same shift, that would be not so good for us. So our next movement is to get into a bigger building, with things that can help other people, like other offices. Like maybe the person that comes to us with that small business, they may just need a space to sit in and do their work for 2 days, be able to provide that space. So that's what we're working towards now, is just a little bit of a bigger 4,000 square foot or more space to be able to have the podcast room in another space on its own, so I can actually get my work done while interviews are going on. And I don't have to actually run home with my laptop and type, like really fast to my clients. So we're just trying to get to that space and actually have a good receptionist, instead of people being able to like bust in the door and say, "Hey, Lisa, what you got going on today?" Can I get some consultation? It's like, I'm kind of doing something here. So that's the next step. I think we grow in small steps, and I'm not too big or too ashamed to say that. That's just where I am right now. And throughout the pandemic, that's how it's been going. You grow little by little. So I'm not too cocky to say that's where we are and that's where we're growing to. We're growing to a little bit of a bigger building, and that's where our return on investment has been able to take us. We haven't made a whole bunch of return on investment throughout the last 2 years. It's been a slow growth, so it's not like we could just jump from this step to the higher step. We have to grow small, and we're just taking it as we get it.
Yep. It's a journey.
It is a journey. And right now, it's a journey.
Oh yeah. Look, that's a good problem, right? Is you're in growth mode right now, and you know that what you're looking at is a bigger picture of, hey, we need that space. We want the podcast studio. We want to have that area where we can operate at like a well-oiled machine, right?
Yes.
So you touched on something a little while ago with COVID, right? We're basically at the tail end of it, and we're getting out of it. So along this journey, what have you learned about yourself?
I've learned not to take every day for granted.
Mm.
There were times where I set goals and I just took, I'm going to get there in July for granted. It was just kind of like, I'm going to get there. So it's no need for me to put the what ifs by getting there in July. There are no what ifs for me. I'm just going to get there,
Yeah.
And so that's just called a little bit of young and dumb mentality, especially with us millennials, is we just expected it to be there. And so now when we went through what we went through with the economy, our generation hadn't gone through that before. So
Right.
now that we went through that economic change, and it was a pretty good shift, now we know, let's take it day by day. Let's take it step by step. If we have a goal, let's put some what ifs in there. Let's put, if this doesn't go like this, what are we going to do? If this doesn't go like that, what are we going to do? Do we have a good savings in the bank to go to the next step? If this total company does not work, do we have a whole nother plan? What other company can we do? Do we have backup? So it has really shifted my mind in a different way. Even about people, how do we care for people? Some person that's there with you right now, they can be dead the next day.
Right.
Oh, yeah. We all have our time. We all got our limits, but don't take that for granted. I mean, I treat people with a lot more love and respect. I've always respected people, but I mean, a lot more love and respect is just flowing out of me now. As before, it was kind of like, just get to the deadline, get to the goal. Okay, you got to go use the bathroom and come back. It's more so like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
If you're not okay, let me know. Like, we can work through this together. Times can be shifted. We can move this meeting, but I want you to be okay. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different perspective in my head now. As before, it was all about meet the goal, meet the deadline. So it's still meet the goal and the deadline, but we have to put some cushion in there. We have to put more love, more respect, more what ifs. What can we change if this doesn't happen? You know what I mean? How can we still succeed in a different way? So that's what I learned throughout all of this.
And that was very, very powerful. I think the people who get to see this video are going to have a lot of takeaways there, because that was very powerful. I got a lot of good information out of it. Is we do have to take that step back approach now and figure out, hey, are we okay? You know, and that's major, because if we're not okay, then things are not going to get done.
Honey, there is no business. If it's not us, what business are you gonna have? Egg ain't got no business.
Right. Yeah. So that's again powerful. If somebody was trying to get a hold of you, are there any exclusive offers that you guys are offering? And if so, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Okay, so first of all, if they see this video, they need to let me know where they saw this at. They need to tell me so I can know that I'm going to offer them a little bit of a special discount. I'm going to take a little bit more time with them and walk them through something very special. It's not that they just saw me off of the street or saw a flyer. That's a little bit different. That means they actually watched me and got to know me as a person. So that means a lot. But they can always get a hold of me at info, I-N-F-O, at chaseel.com. That's CHASEEL.com. That's my business email address. And then my business phone number is 702-690-9182. That's not the office phone. That is my cell phone business number. So you can text that number as well. And we can always set up a meeting. So that is the best way to get in touch with me. And I always respond to everybody. You can let them know that, right?
Oh yeah. Follow up.
So on LinkedIn, Yeah, on LinkedIn, it gets a little crowded sometimes because
Mhm.
when people want to get in touch with you, they'll just hit you up and you may not be able to get in touch with them back that same day because you're in a rush. But that cell phone, you'll see it right away. And my email address is probably a good one as well.
Yep. And you guys are currently located out in Henderson.
Yeah.
Have you given it any thought to what side of town you guys are expanding to, or are you starting to stay in the Henderson area?
We love Henderson. We love
Hmm.
Henderson. We're very, very faithful to Henderson.
Yeah.
We're going to try our best. We're working with the city of Henderson right now to really go into a location within Henderson because Henderson has a lot of older buildings, and
Hmm.
then Henderson is also expanding a lot. So either way, even if someone moves to a newer building, we would love to fulfill the older building with a lot of good energy and upgrading the building as much as we possibly can. That is my goal. So we keep the city at its finest. You know, we just don't want to leave a whole big back hole in there. And then we don't all work together as a city to fulfill it. So I love City of Henderson. So if we could possibly stay here, we will. But then if we don't, more than likely we'll just move down to the art district in Las
Okay.
Vegas. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
love culture and quality, as you can really tell and feel. But
Hmm.
we would love to stay in Henderson if we possibly can.
I know they've done a lot of work in expanding Old Henderson and the Water District. I know myself and my wife go out there quite often, and it's come a long way. So I could
Yeah.
understand that side of it.
Yes.
Or at least I do want to thank you for your time. Is there anything else that you want to let our viewers know? Maybe that we missed something that you would like to share before we wrap up today?
Absolutely. So I do have, outside of our business, we do have two really major, I want to say, very culture driven teams or groups, if you will, on Facebook. One is Ladies of Henderson. And
Mhm.
so that's women just getting to know other women that is in the location of Henderson. And then we have another group named Ladies of Greater Las Vegas. And
Mm.
that's women getting to know the entire Clark County community. So either way, it's a really good way for women to get to know other women, whether you're in business or not in business. It's not about that. It's just about good women getting to know one another and then supporting one another. So I started those two groups based on that, and my company backs those groups up, I mean, really well. We always have good events, good flyers, good information that's being posted out there. So it's a good way for people that have businesses, but it is really a good way for people who do not have businesses. Either way, it's just really fun and enjoying, and it's really people just kind of grabbing one another and getting to know one another.
That is very important, especially in our community,
Yeah.
to empower other women. So I truly appreciate what you're doing as a father of two daughters. I see the shift happening. So thank you for that. I do thank you for your time, OraLeesa, and thank you for being on the Business Spotlight. And until next time, and we run each other, thank you to everybody for watching.
Yes, thank you.